never forget the first time I went to the jungle. It was the Amazon jungle in Venezuela back in 2008. I'd already been in the country a month or so when I decided to make a trip to the jungles. First I took a small light aircraft out of Ciudad Bolivar, headed south to the jungle area of Amazonas. We flew over these enormous plains called Gran Savanna, just grasslands like the African savanna. The landscape was dominated by these enormous flat-topped mountains known as tepuy. As we passed the grasslands, we reached the edge of the Amazon jungle, Canaima National Park. My jaw dropped at the sheer beauty of the waterfalls bursting out of the jungle on all sides as we began to descend into the small airport at a town called Canaima, which is inhabited almost entirely by Pemon Indians. The following day, we took a canoe, heading upriver. Halfway on our 3-hour journey upriver, we stopped at a Pemon village. Half-naked children who had been splashing in the river stopped playing and stared at us open-mouthed as we moored our boat. The Indians live in wooden shacks. Chickens run freely around their little jungle clearing. An Indian man was carving blow darts while a woman gave me some bread made from mashed and chewed up yucca, which we dipped in spicy sauce made from termites. They also gave me a drink of some juice made from yucca, which had been fermented and somewhat alcoholic. It was an amazing lunch and a privilege to meet these people, but it made me very sick. We carried on upriver for a few more hours until the river became a shallow stream, at which point we jumped out and trekked through the dense jungle towards the world's largest waterfall, Angel Falls. The trek was supposed to be a 2-hour one, but it took me just half an hour, leaving plenty of time to admire the beautiful waterfall, which I likened to 2 nostrils of an enormous dragon breathing smoke down from the tepuy. That night we slept in the jungle. We cooked chicken on some sticks over an open fire. Apparently the smoke wards off animals. The sounds of the forest were deafening, and I slept terribly. We'd been told that there were jaguars in the area, but I couldn't make out one animal from the next from all the noise. That night I had bizarre dreams about animals being tortured in captivity. It looked like some kind of zoo. I also dreamt of a strange ape reaching out at me and clawing at my chest. At this time I woke up, startled, because I actually felt something clawing at my chest. The dream was shockingly vivid, almost real. The following year I was living in London, and I wrote the following entry in my diary. sun beams valiantly through ominous black clouds. It will rain today. The sight of the huge black storm clouds pierced with lances of pure white energy brings to mind the cumulonimbus of tropical South America, where the green threatens to engulf you. You can taste the thickness of life in the moist air. When it rains, it's as though the gods are weeping with joy. Tropical rain, so hard it pummels through umbrellas and waterproof clothing alike. The sun is powerful there. She burns cancer into the skin and smothers plants with her glory. They look up at her with leafy arms outstretched, a devoted congregation stretching as far as the eye can see over mountains and around vast dark rivers filled with prehistoric monsters. The Amazon, the best thing I've ever seen, better than a dream. No one was there, just the beasts. In the jungle I had the strangest of dreams. In a hammock strung between two trees, hundreds of miles from civilization, I slept lightly, deafened by the roar of the jungle. Insects assaulted my skin, stealing my blood, leaving me weak with infection. Daily malarial fevers for weeks after, in which my dreams seemed as though they belonged to another. These fever dreams could not compare to the life-changing dream I had in that hammock, deep in the Amazon jungle. I saw an ape, long in limb, like a gibbon with no tail, but with terrifyingly human features. It approached my hammock. As its allies stood solemnly back, I felt the death screams of 1,000,000 lives, hogs, birds, forgotten beasts and unknown apes crying in unison, weeping helplessly. The ape held out a black leathery hand with hideously elongated fingers and placed it on my chest. Suddenly I awoke. I could feel something grab my chest. Had it been real? I looked around at the trees, nothing but darkness and the screeching of 1,000,000 insects. What had happened? There are no apes in the Americas. Later I researched the dream and found that many Indian tribes believed in a South American ape, and these claims have been supported by some Western explorers, but no evidence has been found to substantiate these claims. I changed after that dream. My reverence for nature became as solemn as that of a priest for his god. As time passed, the prospect that the ape people had been real became more ludicrous to me, but the effect on my psyche was the same, whether they had been flesh, or a figment of my imagination, or spirit sent to me by an unknown force. In my dreams, it didn't really matter. All that mattered now was that I experienced it and was affected.